Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by Living To Do's review of Married at First Sight Season 18, Episode 14, called Lies, Lies, Lies. This was a pretty good episode. I mean, there was a lot of tension. I don't know why we see that as a good episode. When things go great, we think it's a terrible episode. But it was a good episode. However, not much went on with Camille and Thomas. You know, things are going great for them. So there wasn't much to talk about. There was no issues. And pretty much for Carla and Juan, he's just not into her spiritual activities. He tried it, but he's not into it. And I just don't see them moving forward with this marriage. It looks like divorce for them because there's only, 11 days before decision day. So let's talk about MM and Akechi. He remains weird. They had a meeting with Dr. Pia, and actually it was MM who showed up. And in true fashion, he shows up later. Of course, after Dr. Pia and MM spoke about him not communicating. When he showed up, he was asked why he wasn't communicating. It's so funny though, when he did come in, Dr. Pia gives out hugs. She hugs her, MM, she hugs him. I don't know why she's hugging these guys. Just shake their hand. I don't think the hugs is really necessary. But anyway, they talked about the communication, and he doesn't feel good communicating with his wife. He didn't greet his wife when he came in. He did have his wedding ring back on. They asked, another reason he said he didn't communicate with her is because he was too busy to contact her. He needed his solitude and safety. He did express he doesn't have a desire or want to move any forward with the marriage. This, of course, upsets MM, and she goes to the restroom. And he knows she's upset. He briefly talks to Dr. Pia. It's upsetting, but, he's kind of upset too. Things just didn't work out the way he thought they would. Later, she returns, and she informed Dr. Pia that she still wanted to try, which really surprised me. Why? Why? Do you need to get hit over the head with a hammer? You need to join us in reality. I know you probably, but after only 2 weeks left, this man has treated you like crap, and you still want to try? And I guess Dr. Pia kind of talked him into it too. So they ended their meeting with her. They left. Ikechi asked MM if she wanted to play video games. Eagerly, she said yes. I don't know. But they show them walking arm in arm to the video arcade place. Later, there was no cameras there, but later, she said that he would call her. He asked if he could call and check on her to make sure she got home. So he's giving her these mixed signals. She thinks that, she wants to try. Looks like he's making an effort. It appears like he's making an effort. He's not. It was just to keep her, in a circle, just going around in circles. That was it for them for now. Let's move on to Madison and Alan. Well, we see her coming in, Madison, at 3:43 a.m. She looks like she's sneaking in, trying to sneak past Alan, who's snoring on the couch. In the morning, they talk. She said she went out to have tacos. And he's all, who sells tacos at 3 a.m.? Velvet Tacos sells tacos at 3 a.m., apparently. Then they have a meeting with Dr. Pia. And Madison informs Dr. Pia that they have miscommunication issues. And then when that happens, she's annoyed. And then she goes out with her friends and has a drink or two. And then she comes right back home. Yeah, right. Coming right back home is coming right back home. They show her in 1 week going out 3 times, coming home at 3:43 a.m., 1:36 a.m., 1:53 a.m. They all got it time stamped and everything for us. She's sneaking by somebody, going into her room. And then Dr. Pia, and I don't understand why someone needs to tell you this, that she needs to prioritize her husband and not spend so much time with her friends. This is a 2-week process. Stay in the process. After the 2-week process, or not the 2-month process, which is 8 weeks is 2 months. After that, you can go play with your friends. You can keep it together until that time. This crazy need to be out. It just seems so immature and childish that you need to be told that you're working on a marriage, especially to someone you don't know. That time needs to be spent with that person to see if you can build something, not in the streets. Alan expressed how he's experiencing bad dreams about her, and he thinks it stems from her not coming home at a reasonable time. She didn't realize this was happening. She says she's going to work on prioritizing her marriage more. Later, she takes him to a stylist, and he got some new clothes, and he did look good. He looked so much better. He looked healthier. Maybe he is losing weight. He did have a fresh haircut. All that worked. Madison thought he looked hot, and that made him feel good. Anything from her. He wanted more clothes, but he looked good. He looked really stylish. After that, later in the episode, we see he gets a box, and this is something for him to work on his teeth, I guess, to straighten them or whiten them. And he has like a fang tooth, and he's happy with it, and he had never had a complaint before. But yeah, I could see how he could get a nice set of white teeth, and with his nice clothes, it just spruces him up a little bit. It's not too much. And she said, she was telling him he should want to do this for himself. And you know what? I agree. It's just the simple things. There's a lot of people that have problems with their teeth on this show. One thing you might need to do on this show, bare minimum, wear clean clothes, make sure they match, and maybe just make sure that people have a decent set of teeth, because that is a major turn off when someone sees you and your teeth are jacked up. They don't know you. I'm sure they really don't have a desire to kiss you. Those are just bare minimum requirements, I think, just bare minimum. Sad that he's doing so much to get her affection. This teeth straightener, whiter, whatever it is, I think it's uncomfortable for him to wear. But he's willing to do it to get some attention for his wife, which is kind of sad. Which is sad. When he gets rid of her, he's going to have so much fun. Okay, let's go on to the next couple. David and Michelle. First, we actually see Michelle go out to lunch or something. She's out to dinner with MM. They talk about their husbands. Of course, EKG wasn't communicating well or sending mixed signals. That's what MM discussed with Michelle. And Michelle talks more about the text, that she talked to David's cousin, and she never did believe his dumb story that he gave about the text. But Michelle indicates to MM that she believes, she has an inkling, something in her spirit is telling her that he's been texting Madison. She doesn't have proof, but that's what she feels. She believes that Madison wouldn't like David, but Madison is David's type. She believes that the mix-up was with their names, both starting with MM. It's so funny. She's talking about MM to MM. But so she really thinks there's something going on there. A woman's intuition. She's going to talk about this text later with David. They're going to go over it and talk it out some more. So we see David come into the shared apartment. Looks like he's getting off work. And he sits down, and right away he's able to tell Madison, I was texting another girl. Her name is Tiffany. Michelle doesn't believe it, really. It just doesn't feel right. It's so funny how why couldn't he say this earlier? Or a girl named Tiffany? Why couldn't any of this get out? We couldn't see the phone. We couldn't see anything. But now he's willing to get this story that he's texting a girl named Tiffany. Let us find out that Madison's middle name is Tiffany. We will rake her over some hot coals. This is crazy. But anyway, she points out that he thought her honesty was sexy. And he looks pathetic. He just looks like a little boy who will not tell the absolute truth. He just looks, he's stirring in himself. That energy is just stirring, or he don't know. And she told him she doesn't believe him. And he's like, that's the truth. And if you don't believe me, then that's on you. And she was trying to tell him, don't put nothing on me. Don't turn this around on me. Don't blame me for this. You were in this experiment with us together, and you kind of stepped out. Even though things weren't progressing like they were, she said that she had her guard a little bit down because they did have a couple outings where they seemed to be getting along just fine. But then he pulled this stunt. The wall is back up. So they didn't get along. He gets up to go. He says, I'm going to the gym. The gym again? Why? Is Madison there? But as he heads out, a confused producer, follows him into the hallway, and she's talking to him. Meanwhile, we see Michelle packing up her things. She packed up her things, walked out the door. They were in the hallway. She walked right past them or by them, got on the elevator with her head held high, and she got on the elevator and left. Enjoy the gym, David. So it's couples retreat time. The first people there are Alan and Madison. Later, Michelle, who rode along with MM, drive up. While the four of them are there, Michelle brings up the issue with the text again. She had no problem bringing that up with Madison there. Alan's excited that Akechi's not going to be there. He knows he's going to have fun now. Meanwhile, David's on his way. No one knows he's coming, but he knows Madison will be there. David showed up, and Madison was happy because she wanted closure. Not Madison, I'm sorry, Michelle, his wife. Alan makes David a whiskey drink while the rest of the group sits in a room, and it's filled with tension. Madison yells out to Alan, hey, bring a knife to cut the tension in this room. Everyone laughs it off. It's so weird because I think there's so much tension because David and Madison are in the same room. He sits on the opposite couch from Madison. So there's three on one couch, his wife, MM, and him, and then Madison and Alan on the other couch. Alan left the room, just left the four of them there. After that, Juan and Carla showed up, and then Camille and Thomas showed up. Alan prepares dinner, and all of a sudden, they're sitting down for dinner, and under contract, Akechi shows up. He doesn't approach the group. He's standoffish, He doesn't say anything. Alan gets up to greet him. He indicates that he's staying away from the group because they're eating shellfish and he's allergic. This man can think of any excuse. Okay, whatever. He gets MM away from the group and has her sit at another table where he presents to her divorce papers, or shall I say, divorce paper. It was a one-sheet piece of paper, and he asked her to sign it. She was going to grant the divorce, but however, it's only one sheet of paper. It's page 1 of 4. The fourth page probably has the place where you sign. The first page doesn't have a place to put your signature, and he wanted her to sign it anyway. That's ridiculous and stupid. What is that going to do? I'm sure it's not acceptable in the court of law. You were going to have to get her to sign in the appropriate spot. This guy is just an idiot. He did this to embarrass her. Why would you come to the couple's retreat and hand her divorce papers? Just the only reason we know why you did it is to put on a performance. Always thinking you're so damn smart. And why would you try to purposely hurt her? It's just constant mess. And then he walked out. She said she would sign it, but not page 1 of 4. So he leaves and walks out the house. Looks like he doesn't say anything to anybody. Just performative. Looking just a stank. It looks like he's wearing the same clothes every time we see him. I am just everything about him. Everything. I can't really say one good thing about you. One more thing I can say about Ikechi. When he did that, I thought to myself, and I've been thinking this to myself for a couple of weeks, you work with kids, you counsel kids in a school. I mean, how are they going to look at you when they watch this show? You look like a bumbling fool. They're not going to look up to you. I think they're going to lose respect for you. And Juan brought it up at the table. He works with kids. He's not being a very good role model. No, he's not. So we're at the table with all the remaining people, and David apologizes to the group because he's lied to everybody. He lied about this text when he was with the group of guys. He definitely lied about it to his wife, Michelle. And, well, Madison knows what time it is. Anyway, Michelle says, he's only apologizing because he really got caught. I contacted his cousin Denise, and she told me everything. Uh-oh. Did you know that, Madison? Did you know that cousin was contacted about the text? What does cousin Denise know? She looked a little interested. And the way Michelle handled this, she was so mature. I haven't really liked her in this season, but in this last couple weeks, the way she's handling this text mess, I am for her. I love it. I want her to get to the bottom of it. And the way she's very calm and she's just not anxious, and David is stirring in his seat, I love it. Keep your foot on his neck. Okay. Now, David's trying to say, this marriage wasn't much, he's not getting anything from his wife, but this is not the way you act. So she turned around. Michelle asked Alan and Madison, are you guys kissing? I think it was Alan who said, they hadn't kissed since their wedding, and either had Michelle and David. At this point, Madison seems a little uncomfortable. She seems like she's stirring in her seat a little bit. She looks a little anxious. I don't think she could sit in that nervous energy much because she stood up. And then inappropriately, she says she's leaving. She had enough. Why are you so bothered, Madison? We're talking about Michelle and David here. What's going on with you here? She is so bothered. I bet Michelle, she's getting closer. Yeah, and Madison feels the heat. And MM probably even knows too. Maybe even Carla. Maybe the only person who doesn't know is Camille. I want to know how many of the girls know. I swear, Madison is such a wench. Oh my God. Okay. That was basically the end of the episode. But we see next week's episode where it looks like Michelle is talking to Alan about what she thinks Madison and David have been up to. But I wanted to bring up that last week I watched The After Party, and sitting there with Keisha, next to Keisha was Juan, next to Juan in the middle was Michelle, and next to Michelle on the end was David. And they were talking about the text. So it was very kind of interesting to see. He's still acting stupid, not really coming clean at that point. But anyway, what I wanted to mention is the way Madison was sitting. She was wearing a dress and she had her legs turned to David, the person on her right, where she's not focusing herself towards Keisha, the host of the show, and where her legs, I think, should naturally go when you are sitting on a chair and the guest is talking to you. You do not have your legs pointing the other way. It was just interesting how they were pointed towards David. I just wanted to bring that up, but that was it. Thank you for staying with me to the end. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. But I gotta go because I got living to do. Bye.